We've been discussing at length the argument Rabba and Rova. What does the shliach have to say? So we confirmed earlier, everybody agrees that to certify the document that it's not a forgery, everybody agrees to that point. That's the issue. The husband can come and claim that he never gave it, that he never wrote it. Therefore, that's a reason why you have said foni nechtam. The argument, but in addition to certifying the document, what about the issue of lishma? Rava says the only reason is because of edim tum l'kaimo. You're not able to locate witnesses. That's why you have to substantiate the document. Everybody agrees that. The question is there an additional concern of lishma, that the sofrim, the scribes, are not sufficiently proficient? Okay? So the Gemara asks, show that the times, even though today everybody's proficient, all scribes, even chutz loretz, even b'nei sayam are proficient. Nevertheless, there's a concern, shemi yachzadav l'kukulo. It could always revert back to the original problem. Therefore, even today, you have to address the lishma aspect of the get. Plukta to Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. We find that this issue is an argument between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. What do they say? One of them says that the reason why the shliach has said for nechtam is because the sofrim are not sufficiently proficient in the halacha of writing specifically for this couple. The other one had said the other one had said because you're not able to locate witnesses to certify the document. Okay? So you see, it's a machlok Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. The argument, which is the argument between Rabba and Rava.
And therefore what?
We just want to show it's the same argument. You know, Rabbi Yochanan and Yeshua ben Levi, so Rava and Rabba, they were in Bavel. Okay? But it's the same argument. But it says one says one says the other. Who said what? It's unclear. So the Gemara is going to bring a proof that Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi is of one of the two opinions. This time, the Yeshua ben Levi, we're going to bring a proof that Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi is the opinion which concurs with Rabbah, which is lishma. The reason why you have to say fonech for nechtam is because the sofrim are not sufficiently proficient lishma. And Gemara tells over a story. The Rabbi Shimon bar Abba. Before we go further, it's interesting. This has to do with, if you know a little bit about Shas. There's many arguments, a number of arguments. This is something David Segelov should have said. That there are a number of arguments in Shas where Rabbi Yochanan and Yeshua ben Levi are involved in, or Rabbi Yochanan and other Amoroim. It says one says one says other. Then it says Tistayim. Now we're going to bring a proof who said what. It's only within the context of Rabbi Yochanan and another Amora. And usually it's Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. The Gemara says in Megillah, there's a question, what is greater, Kedushas Beis HaKnesses or Kedushas Beis HaMedrash? Which is greater Kedusha? So it says, it's a machlok, Rabbi Yochanan and Yeshua ben Levi. One says Kedushas Beis HaKnesses is greater than Kedushas Beis HaMedrash. And the other one says Kedushas Beis HaMedrash, where you study, has greater Kedusha than Kedushas Beis HaKnesses. It says one says one, said, and who said what? It says one said, then we have to identify who said what. It's a proof that Kedushas Beis HaMedrash is greater than Kedushas Beis HaKnesses, and that's the way we rule. Okay? Similar. And you find it multiple times in Shas. Even later, the Gemara is going to cite a machlok Rabbi Yochanan and another Amora. One said one said the other. Now we're going to prove who said what. I'm just pointing it out. I don't know why, but for some reason, it's always Rabbi Yochanan and another Amora. And it's not very often. Most times they do say what they say initially. It's not said no, one said no. We have to verify who said what. It's only within the context of Rabbi Yochanan. So we're going to bring a proof that Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi is of the opinion that the concern is that they're not Bekin Lushmo. The Omar Fishem Bekin Lushmo, the Rabbi Shimon Abo, I see Gitol L'Kami to Rabbi Shimon Levi. Shimon Abo, he was a shliach, who's an agent. He brings a get before Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Omar Lei, Spricht on the name before Nechfani Nechtam. Although he asked him a question, when I deliver the get, do I have to say before Nechfani Nechtam? Omar Lei Lo Tzriches. He says no. You don't have to say Fonech Von Nechtam. Why? Lo Omru Ela B'doros Shonim. In the early generations, that's when you have to say Fonech Von Nechtam. Why? Why initially did they legislate that the Shliach had to say Fonech v'nechtam, she'im bikin l'shmo. He says it clearly. Because the Sofrim originally, Medin Sayam, weren't sufficiently proficient in the halach of the Shmo. Al B'doras Achronim, but the later generations, the bikin l'shmo, lo, where they're all fully proficient, the Sofrim in Medin Sayam are no less proficient than the Sofrim in Eretz Yisrael, there's no reason why you should have to say Fonech v'nechtam. This is what Reb Shua ben Levi had said to Reb Shimon bar Abba. Okay? To Stayim, so it's a conclusive proof that Reb Shua ben Levi is the opinion of Ein B'kiyin L'Shma. It's clear, because it's today that it's not relevant any longer, you don't have to say it. So you see, initially, what was the issue? The issue was to address the L'Shma. That the husband cannot come and contest that it was not written L'Shma. So now the Gemara asks a question. V'tizbara. Is it possible to say this? So Tosas and Rashi say, the question is not on the proof. It's not on the proof. The proof is a proof. He said clearly, Reb Shua ben Levi says clearly that the reason why they originally legislated and enacted the Fonech v'nechtam is because the concern of Lishma. But the Gemara is asking another question. In terms of what he said is difficult, because we said earlier that everybody concurs that minimally you have to address the issue of Edim Tzum L'Kaimo. We said even Rabbah, we proved earlier, Rabbah agrees to this, that the husband could come and contest that the get may be a what? Maybe a forgery. So that's the first thing that has to be addressed. In addition, they're arguing the additional concern. Will the husband say maybe it wasn't written Lishma, correct? But Edim Tzum L'Kaimo, everybody agrees to this. So that's the question. V'tizbara. How could he say the reason why today it's no longer needed is because they're proficient in Lishma? What about Edim Tzum L'Kaimo? Dina Sayam, that's still a concern. If the husband should contest its validity, how are we going to locate the witnesses?
How we know we don't? He doesn't hold like that.
Because he says today it's not necessary any longer. He said, the question he asked him was, today do we have to say Fonech v'nechtam? That was the question. He says today it's not necessary. Because today they're proficient. So the Gemara said, is that possible to say? But what about the other? We said everybody concurs. Tizbro, the Rabbi Islay the Rava. We proved earlier that Rabbah concurs with Rava, that definitely the basic concern is a concern. They're only arguing in regard to the additional concern of the Lishma. If he didn't come to see him, then the question never began. It's not a question. Correct. So it's not possible. Of course, we said earlier, you bring get Medina Sayam, you cannot locate the witnesses. So how do you silence the husband? The ode. Secondly, we said earlier, we proved that even though today they may all be proficient, nevertheless, if you bring Medina Sayam, there's a concern. What happens if you revert back to the original problem? So therefore we don't change it. So how could Rabbi Shua ben Levi tell Reb Shimon bar Abba, today it's not necessary? Elo, Mor says something interesting. Elo Reb Shimon bar Abba inish achrin hava badei. Factually, what Reb Shimon bar Abba was appointed to be a shliach, it wasn't only himself, he had a partner. Two people were appointed to be the agents to deliver the get. And the question he asked was, do I have to say Fonech v'nechtam? So on that he said, it's not necessary. Not for A reason, not for B reason. Because if you're two of you, what are you? So you're the Adim, you're the witnesses. Okay, you yourselves will substantiate. We'd have to rely on Mishum Aguna Akil Rabbanan. It's only because. So we'll see in a moment. El Reb Shimon bar Abba Idish Achronei Havei Badei. Reb Shimon bar Abba was accompanied with another individual. Someone asks, so why isn't he mentioned? It seems to me he came as a solitary agent with anybody joining with him. The answer is Mishum Kvoda de Reb Shimon. Because Reb Shimon bar Abba was a person of such great Torah status, and the other person wasn't at all compared to him, it's like he's non-existent. So therefore he's not even mentioned. But of course there was somebody else together with him. So Rashi explains. So in terms of Edim Tzum L'Kaimo certifying the document, it's not a problem because you have two witnesses. They themselves are the witness. What about Shem Yavdav L'Kukulo? What about Lishmo? So that's what I said earlier. Since it's Milslo Shchicha, since it's something uncommon that when you send a get, you send it with two people, so Milslo Shchicha goes Barabonim. The only reason why you have to address Lishmo, although it's not relevant today, because Shem Yavdav L'Kukulo, because it may revert back to original problem. So that's a Xero. What about if you're dealing with a context which it's uncommon? It's Milslo Shchicha. two witnesses,
Right, but that's just affects the aided, though, the two witnesses.
but you don't have to address lishma.
Why not?
Again, if you have two, if factually it's a problem, it's a problem. It's a problem. Let's say factually, if two witnesses would bring a get medina sayam at a time where the sofrim were not proficient,
Right.
they definitely would have to address the lishma. Not a question.
Right.
Today they're all proficient.
Right.
So lishma does not be addressed. So why should you have to be addressed? Because there's a gzeira.
Right.
So let's say they don't address the lishma. It's not a problem. It doesn't invalidate the get.
Because it's just a...
Because it's a gzeira.
Uh-huh.
And they said in the situation, which is an unusual situation, the gzeira doesn't apply there.
So
Right.
the Xer doesn't apply because of the two aidim?
Because two witnesses to be shluchim,
Right, so
that's uncommon.
So
So to
that's
legislate a
the
gzeira, no. To legislate a gzeira in an uncommon situation, they never legislated in that context. Therefore, there's no reason for them to say it.
So that uncommon situation works for both the aidim and the lishma component.
No, the Eidim, Mitzui L'Kaimo is an issue. Even that's a prevalent issue. The husband, you never know when he could show, when he'll claim to get as a forgery. What do you do? So how do you counter that? I have two witnesses.
Right.
So that two witnesses delivering it, they're
Right.
testifying to the right to the veracity, the validity of the document. Not a problem. Well, lishma is not a problem. But shemi yachdav l'kukulo.
Right.
But the answer is that's not an issue. And that would be prevalent even with two Eidim. But it's only relevant if it's an issue. But today it's not an issue. Because we say, Gemiru Lishmo, wherever the Sofrim are, they're all proficient. The only reason is Shemi Yachdav L'Kukulo. It may revert back to the original problem.
So you could say the same thing with one witness, though, that it doesn't work.
That-
Why not?
Again, let's start over. If you have one witness, even today, he has to address the Lishmo. Why? Why? That is the classical case of a witness, of a shliach delivering a get. That is the classical case. Okay?
That's the common...
So if today he doesn't say it, what happens is you revert back to what it was once, where they're not proficient. So what are people going to say? Well, last year, the shliach did not have to address lishma. So this year they'll say the same thing. He doesn't have to address lishma. That creates a problem. People who say, well, with two people witnesses, they didn't have just lishma. That because it's uncommon, we're not concerned for that. Okay? It's clear. You know, you learn something from here. It says because it was inish achrina b'hava badeg, right? Since there was somebody else with him, but because he wasn't even mentioned, mishum kvoded Reb Shimon, because it would have been to give honor, acknowledgement to Reb Shimon. You know, there's a halacha that if you have a rebbe and a talmid, and then the talmid is a rebbe of someone else, and they're all present. So you have three levels: the rebbe of the rebbe, and then you have the talmid. You do not acknowledge the rebbe of the talmid in presence of the rebbe of the rebbe, because that's not considered respectful. That's the halacha. You know, it's very obvious. We'd like to acknowledge Rav Moshe Feinstein, and there's another prominent rabbi of some congregation. You know, the other man doesn't hold up a candle to Rav Moshe Feinstein. It's considered, because addressing him in his presence is considered a disrespect, unless he was agreeable to waive his honor. But again, we're recording an incident. The reason why we don't mention the other person, Mishum Kvoda Reb Shimon. Famous story I once told over. Reb Chatzkel Abramsky, he was the head of the London Bezdin for over 30 years, and Sir Isaac Wolfson had a very close relationship with him. Literally, like a subject before a master, to that degree. So whenever Reb Chatzkel Abramsky would want to go somewhere, they go together, he would have his limousine Rolls Royce pull up, and Reb Chatzkel Abramsky would go in together, and they traveled, they would go to wherever they had to go in his chauffeured limousine. So the limousine pulls up, and both of them are waiting at the curb, Reb Chatzkel Abramsky and Reb Sir Isaac Wolfson, and the chauffeur opens the door, Sir Isaac Wolfson goes in, and so Reb Chatzkel Abramsky, and Sir Isaac Wolfson spoke Yiddish. He says, Mr. Wolfson, you have to come out. First Torah goes in, then you go in after me. He came out, then he went in. He had no problem. Sir Isaac Wilson understood it, appreciated it. Okay? Understand, in the presence of Rav Chatzkel Abramsky, who was one of the leading Torah sages of the generation, you don't rate. When you don't rate, the one who rates goes in first. Okay.
He wasn't saying it was guidance.
No, not at all. Not only that, if somebody would have seen that, you know what kind of Kiddush Hashem that is. He already was knighted by the Queen, Sir Isaac Wilson, and he himself, he subordinates himself to the rabbi. It's unheard of. It's a Kiddush Hashem.
By not mentioning the other person, you change the narrative.
No, there's no other way. There's no other way to understand it. You must say there was someone else there. So the question, if there must, so why isn't he mentioned? There's only one answer. Mishum Chlodo, the Reb Shimon. That's the only answer. Okay? We had earlier, the Gemara had said that why do we accept the testimony of a single witness? Because it's only rabbinical. And Mishum Aguna Kilo Barabonan. So because of Aguna, she'll remain a bound woman, therefore they legislated this leniency. Somewhere it says, Kulu Chumru. It's a kula, it's a leniency, it's a chumra. Why? Because she's going to get married with a get. The husband's going to come and contest the get. So it's one against one. So one his testimony or his claim will actually count to the witness and it'll be canceled out. Right? If you remember, that's Gemara's question with Av Gimel. So what did the Gemara answer? Anybody's offering to answer what the Gemara answers? Okay. Okay. $64,000 question. Howard, what do you say?
He has the force of two witnesses. When he says that.
Why? Why? The husband says differently.
It's a leniency on the woman, so she won't.
No, but that's the first question. Kulahi, chumrahi. So not only because it's a chumrah, it's a string, because now it's going to get complicated. They should have alleged you must have two, because if the husband now contests, it's one against one.
But it's a tirka to have two people travel across the ocean.
This shas hasn't yet been written, the one Howard's talking about. So I'll tell you what the Gemara says. The Gemara answers, there's a review, Chazorah. You know, one thing it's about Howard special. The Gemara, Rambam Paskins, on Hilchos Talmud Torah, Ein Abaishan Lomid. You want to learn? There's no, you know, the issue of self-pride has no relevance here. So the Gemara answers that because he knows he has to testify before two or before three, he's going to be meticulously exacting in the information initially. As a result of that, we could say with certainty he's not lying, and therefore the husband cannot counter his testimony. That's what the Gemara answers. So it was not an argument before who does he have to say before two people or before three. So there's an argument, Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Chanina, which the Gemara says, doesn't say who says what. Rabbi Yochanan says one thing, Rabbi Chanina says another thing, whether it's two or three. Now the Gemara is going to address the same issue. Who said what? Who said two? Who said one? Okay? Itma b'fnei kama nosna lo. Tav Gimel on top. If anyone wants to review it. Before how many does the shliach have to give the get? Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Chanina. Again, it's an argument Rabbi Yochanan and Chanina. Charo b'fnei shnayim. One says the get has to be given before two people. We're going to see clearly how many these people. What about a woman is qualified to deliver a get? A korov is qualified to deliver a get. Now, the people before who the get is given, do they have to be qualified witnesses? Do they have to be men qualified? If they're possible, do they qualify to be the people before the get can be presented? We'll see them or not. Regarding the shliach, it could be anybody. It could be a woman, it could be a korov, apostle to deliver. But in terms of the people before who it's given, that person has to be a qualified aid. Has to be a male, and cannot be related to the individual. Korov. We're going to bring a proof to Rabbi Yochanan Dom b'fnei shnayim. We're going to bring a proof from an incident that Rabbi Yochanan is of opinion that two is sufficient. The get is given, delivered in presence of two. What was the story? The Ravin Bar Rav Chisda, Robin, the son of Rav Chizda, I see Gito l'kam to Rabbi Yochanan. He brings a get before Rabbi Yochanan. V'amalei, and he said to him, Zil havlo babi trei. He says to him, when you give the get, you must give it in presence of two. When you give it to the woman, you must have two witnesses present when you deliver the get. Ve'em alo, ve'em alahu, and you should say before them, B'fonei nechtam. Okay? That's what you must say. You must attest to the fact it was written before me and was signed before me. As a shliach. This is what he's saying to Rav Bar Chizda. So tistayim, so it's conclusive proof. The Rabbi Yochanan is of the opinion that how many people have to be, does it have to be given before? Two. Two is sufficient. He said two, b'fnei shnayim. So if Rabbi Yochanan is of the opinion two, so Rabbi Chanina is of the opinion must be three, because one says two, one says three. So what's the argument? What's the argument if two is sufficient or you need three? The one who says it has to be given in the presence of two, because they're not proficient lishma. Correct? What does that mean? Let's say the husband comes and contests that the get was not written lishma. Let's say two witnesses were present when the sofer wrote the get, and he wrote it lishma. What is that? That's sufficient. You just need testimony. So if the shliach, his objective is to establish the fact that it was written lishma, that's enough. You have to have two. If the husband should come now and question it, you have two witnesses who could testify that they accepted testimony from the shliach, that the shliach said, I mean, the shliach, we said earlier, is believed. Is believed. Well, let's say the shliach's not here now. And the husband claims when the shliach delivered the get, he never said anything. He never said lishma, he never said anything. So how do you establish fact that he did say it? So if you have two, he says in the presence of two witnesses, those two witnesses will testify that they heard him say that it was written lishma. Because it's purely testimony. So two is enough for testimony. But if you substantiate a document versus a ksubas, it's always certified by the court. The court has to certify the document. So certification is what? That's three. The one who says that it has to be said has to be said in the presence of three, which we say is Reb Chanina Ksavar, because if you're not able to locate the original witnesses, so what do you need? You need a certification. Who certifies a document? A bezdin. We know a bezdin is how many? Three is a bezdin. So seemingly the machlokes, Reb Yochanan and Reb Chanina, whether it's two or three, this is the issue. What exactly is the purpose of the people being given the presence? Is it lishma, or it's what? It's substantiating the document that it's not a forgery. If it's substantiating the document, then you need a bezdin. Bezdin is three. If it's lishma, you just need witnesses. So therefore, two is enough. That's what the Gemara wants to say now.
On that get, are there two witnesses signed?
Definitely. But the husband could say it's a forgery.
Right. So then you have the shliach come and say,
This is not a forgery.
This is not a forgery.
So wait, when you say
I
normally
saw
a
it.
monetary document, when you want to certify a monetary document, a loan document, and later the borrower can't claim it's a forgery, what do you have to do? You go to the bezdin, they certify the document that it's not but you need bezdin to certify a document.
Okay.
Anything less than three is not a bezdin. So that would make sense to say the opinion of three is bezdin. It's because you're addressing the certification of the document. Right? Clear. So why does Rabbi Yochanan say two? Evidently it's lishma. So if it is bro, is it possible to say this? We said earlier, Rabbi Shua and Levi, we had the regarding lishma. Rabbi Yochanan said one thing, Rabbi Shua and Levi said something else. And the Gemara tells over a story. Rabbi Shua and Levi had said to Rabbi Shimon bar Abba, today it's not necessary. So from there we proved that what does Rabbi Yochanan hold? Certification. And now we're saying, well, if you only need two because it's lishma, it's contradictory. It's a contradiction of Rabbi Yochanan. Before we clearly proved that Rabbi Yochanan is of the opinion that eidim tzum l'kaimo, and here we're saying the reason why two is sufficient is because it's not substantiating documents only lishma. So if that's the case, we have a contradiction in Rabbi Yochanan. You following? No. Alec, you hear it? We just said earlier. What is Rabbi Yochanan? We brought a proof. The Rabbi ben Levi is of the opinion, aim the key in Lishma, from the story we told over. Because said one said one, one said the other. So we said, I'll prove to you Rabbi ben Levi is of the opinion Lishma. So we told over the story because he told Rabbi Shimon Rabba, today it's not necessary. So if he's of Lishma, so what is Rabbi Yochanan? What is his opinion? Eidim Mitzuyim L'Kaimo. Okay, so we established that. Now we have one said one, one said the other. One says you need two, one says you need three. So the Gemara tells of a story. Rabbi Yochanan says, told Rav Chizd, when you give it, make sure to give it in present. Two is sufficient. You don't need three. And says, evidently, why is it sufficient? Because Ikin Lishma. We just finished saying before, Rabbi Yochanan is of the opinion, Eidim Tzuyu L'Kaimo. So if you understand it this way, you have a contradiction of Rabbi Yochanan. Does he hold one? Does he hold another? Clearly, we said clearly before he's of the opinion of what? Eidim Tzuyu L'Kaimo. So therefore, when he says two, it's impossible to say the reason is because we're addressing the Lishma issue. It has nothing to do with Lishma. It's for some other reason. They write, it's called a henpick. Like a henpick, you know, henpicked. It's called a henpick. So it says they write, before us, two witnesses testified to the validity of this document, and then they sign. No, so we'll say, so two would sign. Right? But two is not a business, and two is not sufficient. So we're still struggling with this. So what is the Rabbi Yochanan cannot hold? It's because Lishma. Correct? So what is the value of two? And what the Gemara is going to say in a moment, the shlich will be part of the business. The shlich is an aid, correct? The shlich is a witness. It's definitely one witness, except we gave the one witness the status of two, because it's rabbinical. No, well, we'll see. So what he does, you're going to write up this form. This document has been substantiated as not being a forgery. 3 people are going to sign on it. The 2 plus the shliach. So you're going to have 3 signatures on this. That's how you're going to certify the document. The question is, could the shliach be one of the witnesses, one of the bezdin, to sign to certify the document that it's not a forgery? That's the machlokes Rabbi Yochanan and Reb Chanina. Rabbi Yochanan says he can. Reb Chanina says he cannot. Okay, we'll see. So firstly, the Gemara says you can't say Rabbi Yochanan is of opinion Lishma because we just previously had said that he's of the opinion Eidim Mitzum L'Kaimu. Secondly, for Rabba Islay de Rava, we said Rabba Kekruzu Rava, that the issue of what of Eidim Mitzum L'Kaimu is definitely an issue which always has to be addressed. So if that's the case, you should always have to have 3. You always have to certify the document. So what is the position of Rabbi Yochanan that 2 is sufficient? You should always have to have 3, because everybody agrees for certification of a document. How many people do you need? You have to have 3. Well, the Gemara is going to say that. So Gemara says, El Kuli Alma Bina Eidim Sum L'Kaimo. Everybody agrees that the issue, why do you have to have it given in the presence of 2 or 3? Eidim Sum L'Kaimo. It's to certify the document. V'hocha, what's the argument? Shlich Nasa Eid. They're arguing, Shlich Nasa. The Shlich definitely could be a witness. V'eid Nasa Dayon. Now the question is, but could the aid be one of the Dayonim, be one of the 3? Each one functions when they certify the document, they're the equivalent Dayonim, like we do Hataras and Dorim. Right? Each person, his status, the reason why he's able to nullify the neder or the shvua, is because they assume the status of a Dayon. Okay? So the question is, could the Shliach, who's the aid, could he be Dayan? Mandi B'fnei Shnayim. The one whose opinion before 2, Ksova Shliach Nasa Eid Ve'eid Nasa Dayan. Now the question is, the function of an aid and the function of a dayan are 2 different functions. One is testimony, and one is it's in the presence. The person who offered the testimony, could he assume the status of dayan? That's the question. Rabbi Yochanan is of opinion he can. We'll see in a moment, the Gemara will fall off this immediately. The answer is he can. So if that's the case, 2 is sufficient. The shliach, who's the aid, he could, in addition to being the witness to testify to its validity, he could be one of the 3, because aid, nasa dayan. The aid could assume the status of a dayan. Umadiyam b'fnei shlosha. Reb Chaninu says you have to have 3 in addition to the shliach. So aid nasa aid. Shlich nasa aid, no question. The shlich is an aid. However, aid nasa dayan. But if once you assume the position of aid, you cannot be a dayan. So the Gemara says, the Gemara says, "Eksuzo kaimelon b'trabonon, Dave nasadayon." The Gemara says, since certify a document is purely rabbinical, everybody concurs, nobody disagrees, that the 8 could be one of the dayonim. So Dave could be a dayan, so why over here do you need 3? 2 subisha. Even chamina should be sufficient, you shouldn't need 3. So more answers. We said earlier, even a woman qualifies to be a shliach. Right? She could deliver a get. And Tosa says, even though the Gemara says a woman, what about a korov? A relative could also qualifies to be a shliach. But if you can tell me a nasadayon on a rabbinical level and you need 3, so what happens if the shliach happens to be a woman? So what are people going to say? In the past, the shliach was one of the 3. So they'll say a woman could also be one of the 3. So she'll be she's qualified to be an 8, rabbinically, because the whole thing's rabbinical. A woman says, she's an 8. She is an 8. No. She's attesting the fact it was written Lishma, and it's not a forgery.
She could be one of the 3 that
No, everybody, she cannot be one of the 3. But is she an 8?
Yeah.
Is she, okay.
Yeah.
But what do people know? They're going to confuse it. They say, in the past, we know that the shliach became one of the 3. They don't understand that a woman doesn't qualify as a member of a bezdin. Right? So we do have Torahs and Adorim. Same thing. If one of the people will be a woman, you don't have a panel. You cannot, the nullification of the neder shua has no value. So the same thing here. The aide has to testify in presence of the bezdin. So if the witness himself is qualified to be a member of the bezdin because he's a male and he's so then it's fine. But what are people? People are going to confuse it. Since women are qualified to be the shliach and to be the aide to testify to its validity, they may graduate her up to the next level, to the bezdin. A woman, is definitely, nobody argues, is qualified to deliver the get. We're concerned she may bring the get, and they're going to rely on her. What does it mean they're going to rely on her? To be one of the 3, but she's not qualified to be one of the 3. So Tosa says not only women, it's not specific, even a korov. What happens if a korov would deliver a get? She'd say a woman is muslo shchicha. That's uncommon, that a woman should deliver a get. But what about a man? Fine. So what's the problem with a man? Reb Yochanan is concerned. Reb Chanin is concerned. It could be a korov. Doesn't have to be. So what does the other one hold? If this is a concern, Isha made the yadi v'lo samchila. Reb Yochanan is of the opinion everybody knows factually a woman never qualifies to be a member of the bezdin. Therefore, although in the past the shliach was included in the bezdin, there's not a concern that the woman would be included. Okay, to be continued.